If your feet are cold the moment you get out of bed, even in a warm room, it's not your age and it's not your circulation getting old. After 60, your body stops making enough of one molecule that keeps your blood vessels open. Tonight, 3 things from your kitchen and 1 spoon of olive oil can start fixing that while you sleep. This is about a nighttime ritual that takes less than a minute to prepare and targets the exact reason circulation slows down after 60. You aren't going to need expensive supplements or a prescription. You only need 3 things from your kitchen, a little olive oil, and a willingness to try something before bed. The payoff isn't some distant future promise. We're talking about how your hands and feet feel when you first step out of bed tomorrow. That molecule is nitric oxide, and your body relies on it to keep arteries relaxed and blood moving smoothly. Think of it as the chemical signal that tells your blood vessels to stay open wide enough for blood to reach your fingers and toes without fighting through a narrow pipe. Without enough of it, circulation slows down exactly where you need it most. Once you pass 60, your body produces far less of this compound than it did in your 40s or 50s. The drop is gradual, so plenty of guys chalk the symptoms up to getting older. They start wearing thicker socks, drinking more coffee, and accepting that mornings just feel sluggish now. But the real culprit isn't laziness or a bad mattress. It comes from a measurable biological decline in how much nitric oxide your body can actually use. Researchers have tracked this drop across aging populations, and studies show that impaired nitric oxide generation raises heart risk in older adults long before any doctor finds something wrong. When your nitric oxide levels drop, your blood vessels lose their flexibility. Blood starts moving more like syrup through a narrow straw than water through a garden hose. Picture a garden hose with a kink in the middle. The water still runs from the tap, but barely a trickle reaches the end. That's exactly what happens to your blood after 60. Your feet and hands are the farthest from your heart, so they feel it first. That's why your toes go cold even in a warm room, and why your legs feel like you already walked a mile before your feet even hit the floor. The brain feels it too, because less blood flow means less oxygen delivery, which shows up as morning brain fog. Your body does most of its repair work while you sleep. Cell regeneration peaks while your heart and blood vessels do their maintenance. But recovery requires raw materials, and if your nitric oxide tank is running low, your blood vessels can't do the maintenance they need overnight. You wake up with the same stiff circulation you fell asleep with, and the cycle repeats every single day. The good news is you can feed your body the building blocks it needs before you sleep, and the first one is already sitting in your kitchen. Ingredient number 1, garlic, the nitric oxide trigger. The first ingredient is garlic, but the majority of men use it wrong and miss the compound that actually helps their circulation because they never break the cell walls where the chemistry hides. So you need to crush the clove first. When you crush a garlic clove, you trigger a chemical reaction that produces allicin, the compound that gives garlic its sharp smell and its real power to relax blood vessels and support better circulation. Allicin doesn't exist in an intact clove, and it only forms when the cell walls break and 2 separate chemicals inside the garlic meet each other for the first time. That's why popping a whole garlic clove into your mouth does almost nothing for circulation, no matter how many you swallow whole. The magic happens after the crush, and the waiting period afterward is what separates a weak attempt from a strong nitric oxide boost. Allicin supports your blood vessels by helping dull nitric oxide stay available longer. It relaxes the smooth muscle lining your arteries, which lets them open wider and carry more blood with less pressure. Researchers have examined garlic's effects on blood pressure and blood flow across multiple studies, and the evidence points to real benefits. Aged garlic extracts improve blood flow by increasing how much usable nitric oxide your body produces. Fresh, crushed garlic delivers a similar punch without waiting weeks for a supplement to arrive. When you mix crushed garlic into olive oil, something useful happens. Olive oil contains healthy fats and polyphenols that help open blood vessels and settle down inflammation. Clinical literature describes extra virgin olive oil as a nutrient that helps keep arteries clearer by expanding blood vessels. The polyphenols in olive oil boost blood vessel function on their own, so the oil is far more than a simple carrier. It's an active partner, and the fat helps your body absorb garlic's compounds more efficiently during the overnight repair window. The main step many guys skip is the waiting period. After you crush the garlic, let it sit for 10 minutes before stirring it into the olive oil. Those 10 minutes give the allicin time to fully develop, and if you crush and swallow it immediately, you miss out on the compound that opens your blood vessels. 10 minutes feels like nothing, but it creates the difference between a weak attempt and a strong nitric oxide boost that you can feel in your feet by morning. You only need 1 clove for a single serving. Peel it, crush it with the flat side of a knife, wait 10 minutes, then stir it into a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. That's it for the first ingredient. It's simple, cheap, and backed by decades of research into heart health. Plenty of men past 60 notice that their hands and feet warm up faster after they start using crushed garlic regularly, and the change stacks up night after night as your nitric oxide stores climb back. Garlic opens the door, and the next ingredient turns up the heat inside your vessels and pushes blood through the smallest channels in your body until you feel the warmth in your toes. Ingredient number 2, cayenne, the warmth activator. The second ingredient is cayenne pepper, and it works through a completely different door than garlic. Cayenne contains capsaicin, the compound that causes hot peppers to burn your tongue. But that same heat does something powerful inside your blood vessels. Capsaicin activates special heat sensors throughout your body and your blood vessels, and when these sensors fire, they trigger a chain reaction that supports better blood flow and healthier arteries. Studies confirm that capsaicin holds real potential for blood flow and metabolism, which means it does more than turn your food spicy. Here's the part that catches a lot of guys off guard: when you eat something hot and your face flushes that didn't stay on the surface. Your capillaries are physically opening wider to move blood closer to the skin and cool you down. That same effect happens inside your legs, your feet, and your hands. A small pinch of cayenne in olive oil before bed sends that signal to the tiniest vessels in your body while you sleep, keeping blood moving through channels that garlic alone might not reach. Your toes and fingers depend on these tiny channels, and they're often the first places to go cold after 60. Traditional medicine has used cayenne for heart health for centuries, and modern research supports that tradition with studies on blood flow and blood pressure. When combined with garlic and olive oil, it creates a powerful combination. Garlic opens the larger arteries using nitric oxide, and cayenne forces blood through the smaller capillaries that feed your fingers and toes with the warmth you've been missing. That's why your feet feel warmer in the morning after you start using this protocol. The warmth doesn't come from your imagination. It's blood finally reaching places that have been starved for years. If you're finding this information useful and you want more simple, natural protocols for men over 60, consider subscribing to this channel so you never miss a weekly update. The next one covers another nighttime fix that pairs perfectly with this routine. You don't need much cayenne to get the effect. A small pinch, about 1/8 of a teaspoon, mixed into your olive oil and garlic is plenty. If you're sensitive to spice, start with less and work your way up over a few nights. The goal is to activate those heat sensors just enough to keep your circulation humming while your body repairs itself during sleep. Not to set your mouth on fire. Some men notice a gentle warmth in their stomach within minutes, and that's exactly the signal that your vessels are responding. That's ingredient number 2. Now we need the third one, which plenty of guys completely forget about, even though it finishes the entire protocol and holds the whole mixture together as time goes on. Ingredient number 3, ginger, the inflammation soother. The third ingredient is fresh ginger, and it finishes the job that garlic and cayenne started. Ginger contains compounds called gingerols that fight inflammation strongly. Inflammation goes beyond swollen joints or arthritis. Inside your blood vessels, chronic low-grade inflammation turns artery walls stiffer and blood slightly thicker over time. That thickened blood struggles to squeeze through narrow capillaries, especially in your feet and hands. After years of this slow progression, your circulation feels sluggish even when your heart is pumping perfectly fine. Many men over 60 blame their heart when the real problem is inflammation slowly choking the pipeline between their heart and their toes. Ginger steps in to calm that inflammatory response, and studies link it to heart benefits, including support for healthy blood pressure and smoother circulation. It helps your blood move with less resistance, which means your heart doesn't have to work as hard to push blood to your extremities every minute of the day and night. When you combine ginger with garlic and cayenne in olive oil, you get a complete system. Garlic opens the vessels by boosting nitric oxide, and cayenne pumps blood through the capillaries by activating heat sensors. Ginger smooths the flow by reducing the inflammation that thickens blood and stiffens walls over the long term. Each ingredient handles a different part of the circulation chain, which is why stacking them works better than choosing just one. You only need about 1 teaspoon of grated fresh ginger for the protocol. Peel a small piece, grate it finely, and stir it into the olive oil, along with your crushed garlic and cayenne. Fresh ginger works better than dried powder for this purpose because the gingerols are more potent in the raw root. The taste is sharp and warm, but when mixed into a tablespoon of olive oil, it goes down quickly and doesn't linger on your tongue or leave a burning aftertaste. If the flavor bothers you, a small sip of water right afterward clears it completely. Some men ask why we don't just take one of these ingredients alone. The answer is that circulation has multiple choke points. You need the large arteries open, the small capillaries active, and the blood itself smooth enough to move freely without fighting inflamed vessel walls. One ingredient might help one layer, but the triple stack covers all 3. That's why the combination works better than any single supplement online, and it costs a fraction of what you'd spend at a health store. Scientists have found that regular ginger intake supports the same heart markers that doctors track when they evaluate circulation in older adults. You now have all three ingredients. Here's exactly how to combine them into the simple nighttime protocol that needs under a minute and starts working while you sleep tonight. Start with a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil in a small bowl or cup. Crush one garlic clove and let it rest for 10 minutes so the allicin develops fully. Then stir the crushed garlic into the olive oil. Grate 1 teaspoon of fresh ginger and sprinkle it into the mixture along with a tiny pinch of cayenne pepper, roughly 1/8 of a teaspoon. Stir everything together until it forms a rough paste and take it right before bed. The timing matters because your body enters its deepest repair phase during the first few hours of sleep. But that's when cell regeneration peaks and your heart and blood vessels complete their nightly maintenance. Feeding your body these three compounds right before that window gives your blood vessels the raw materials they need to relax, open, and move blood more efficiently while you rest. Some men feel warmth in their feet or hands by the second or third morning. Others notice that their legs feel lighter when they first stand up. Try rating your morning foot warmth from 1 to 10 before you get out of bed. A lot of guys see that number climb by day 3. The effect stacks over time as your nitric oxide stores rebuild, so the benefits grow stronger with each passing night. Consistency beats intensity here. One small dose every night works better than a large dose once a week. Olive oil deserves far more credit than just being a carrier. Its natural compounds improve blood vessel function and reduce inflammation on their own, which means olive oil is doing real work while it carries the other three ingredients to your cells. When you take this protocol, you're getting 4 active ingredients, not 3. One quick safety note before you try this. First, if you take blood thinners, blood pressure medication, or you have a history of stomach ulcers or gallbladder problems, talk to your doctor before adding garlic, ginger, or cayenne to your nightly routine. Garlic and ginger can thin blood slightly, and cayenne can irritate a sensitive stomach. These effects stay mild for healthy men, but they matter if you're already on medication. Use modest doses, start low if spice bothers you, and pay close attention to how your body responds. If anything feels off, stop and consult a doctor. We publish new natural health content for men over 60 every single week, so hit subscribe and the notification bell if you want to catch the next protocol. Until the next video, try this tonight and see how your feet feel in the morning.